childhood bullying is a real problem. And we want to talk about it today.
Well, let's get into it. The cyberbullying, it's happening all over. And ultimately, this foundation needs to be built. These conversations need to be had from a very early age before they ever encounter any of that.
We wanted to give our daughters and our son now a right perspective of how do you view a bully? So let his light shine as you walk through the world. And remember, you always belong. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Ginger and Jeremy podcast for another episode. Ginger, you look beautiful today.
Oh, thank you. You look handsome.
That was an encouragement. If you listen to us audio only, we have a YouTube channel and you can go watch us. That actually wasn't a planned hook, but here's what we're talking about today, Ginge. Childhood bullying is a real problem, but bullying doesn't only stay concentrated to childhood.
It doesn't, unfortunately.
It often follows us into adulthood and can take various forms. And I think it usually does more from, something on the playground to, in our day and age, being all over the internet.
Oh, social media bullying. Yes, that's a huge thing.
Cyberbullying. There's something about the anonymity that people are afforded to say whatever they want and actually to really say what they would say in person if not for like social decorum or, the sort of stigma from being mean in person. I mean, although some people can be. And we want to talk about it today.
Well, let's get into it.
Because I think being public facing in some way, you having grown up on TV, this was a conversation that we had very early on in our marriage, was how are we going to deal with people's opinions about us online, in a magazine, whatever, because people have a lot of opinions, especially when you're in the public eye, whether it was your family, and then that kind of like trickles down to you and your siblings just by default.
Yeah.
But do you remember what we kind of committed to early on?
We committed to not reading the headlines and trying to focus on just living our lives to glorify God and being a part of community and not allowing the negative to affect us. And so I think part of that was just not Googling our name, not looking up and seeing what was up with all of the news outlets or the negative stuff that was going around. And I think that that was healthy for us, especially for just starting early marriage. That is something that could have been challenging. Another thing to add to a marriage, which is not going to be great, like to have other opinions and get in your own head about stuff, especially because we were still filming the show at that time. And I think that it could have been an extra burden that we just didn't need to carry in that time. And I will say, though, because fast forwarding to even a couple years ago, there was a time where I was Googling just to see what was out there. And there was a reason for that. And I felt the necessity to do that in a certain time.
Yeah.
And I was okay because I also had grown so much. And I think that for all those years, even growing up on in the public space, I remember my parents handled it well. They would always tell us that we did not need to like focus on the naysayers because they're so loud. And I think that that's part of it, because you always have people who are going to be the negative tones that are going to come through on things. And they may be like, oh, I kind of don't like you. But then when you're, like you said, behind a screen, then that's when all the anger comes out and frustration. And so I think that sometimes not leaning into that is actually helpful.
But you have done a little bit of Googling over the last few years.
I have done some, and not that much though, because I feel like anytime it starts to affect me, then I realize, oh, this is not healthy and I need to stop.
One day our kids are going to Google their own names, and it is curious, like, what are they going to find? And so we actually Googled, well, I say we, our producer did a Google search on our names, I think on Google actually, and then through Reddit. And we've actually collected, for you listeners, like some of these topics and headlines. And I guess what you could say, some of it might be like cyberbullying or just people sharing their very strong opinions, negative opinions. And so we actually want to read through some of those today and react to those because it's interesting what people will say. And I've got to say, some of the headlines that were sent were very offensive to me because once you start talking about male pattern balding, Ginge, cuts you right to the heart. Cuts you right to the heart. You know, I'm a male. I'm just living my life in my mid-30s,
Oh my
folks.
goodness.
No, I'm kidding. But I will say this. We did say early on in our marriage, if we allow people's praise to go to our head, then people's criticism will cut us to the heart. And so by kind of shielding ourselves a bit and saying, look, I'm not going to like read these headlines or people's opinions on some subreddit, you know, like the dark web of like people's unbridled opinions. You go, yeah, because there is a temptation to be like, hey, look, somebody said something nice. And then thinking, wow, you know, thinking well of yourself. And then something says something negative and you're crushed by it. We should get into some of these because, yeah, it's interesting to see what people say. And what's an interesting facet is how people perceive your reality from a distance is reflected in what they share. And sometimes it is so
Their
obvious.
assumptions, basically.
Totally.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about CoSmart.
I don't think you need us to tell you the importance of having home security. I mean, it's very important for us. The first thing we've done in every home we've moved into is install a brand new security system. A lot of times it's been incredibly expensive and a lot of hassle. But now with CoSmart, you can install security all around your home. It's easy to access. It's mobile. You can always check your cameras. There's so many options. CoSmart is really a great solution for security.
Yeah, it is. And I like that it's for just almost like a little under $1 a day. You are protecting your home, your loved ones, your possessions, and you're able to see what's happening at your place even when you're not there.
Yeah, they have live stream, so you can stream if you're at home, if you're away, you can see what's happening around your house. It's so easy to set up. Their website's really nice. Check it out. You'll find it really convenient. So make protecting your home a top priority. Check out covesmart.com/ginger or use code ginger at checkout for up to, check this out, 60% off your first order.
Crazy.
So go to covesmart.com/ginger. Use code ginger for up to 60% off on your first order. You'll never regret taking more measures to protect your family.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Function Health.
Yeah, so most people assume that their health, like their heart, is healthy if they have good cholesterol levels. But there are certain tests like lipoproteins that you cannot be aware of unless you specifically ask your doctor to test them, and they might be wildly unhealthy, out of range. But Function Health shows you, it gives you a 360 degree, is that the right term, or is it 180 degree? It gives you a full orbed view of what's happening in your body to know whether you're truly healthy.
Yeah, it's super awesome because they test for all these biomarkers and you are able to get that comprehensive view of what's happening. And I think that it really would save so many people from a lot of finding out later what's going on inside when you're super tired, super wiped out, and you're like, oh, I'm depleted and everything. Well, go ahead and check out what is happening inside your body with Function Health.
Own your health for just $365 a year. That's $1 a day. Visit functionhealth.com/ginger and use gift code GINGER for $25 credit toward your membership.
Now back to the episode.
Okay, so let's jump in. Okay, we're going to begin with one, Ginge, that's going to hit very close to home for you. This is an article that was written from the U.S. Sun. And it says, close call. Ginger Duggar defies family with shorts and tank as she nearly falls on grocery run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I nearly face planted when I was out shopping one day.
And it begins with this innocent photo of Ginger.
There I am. So I'm pushing a shopping cart. It was in COVID time, and I I was like pushing the shopping cart out, getting supplies for Felicity's birthday, if I remember. I think it was July. Yeah. And I was getting her birthday party supplies, and I was followed to the store, and there were photos taken. And a couple days later, I looked at them. Somehow, I think either I saw it or somebody sent it to me. And I saw these photos, and I literally could not stop laughing for like 2 days.
Right.
To the point where I typically don't put things on Instagram, share anything that's like tabloid related. Mm-hmm. But that was one that I literally, every time I would think of that incident, it's one of those where I'm like, okay, this is exactly what happened. I walked out of the store. There's like a divot in the parking lot from where the store's like driveway hits the parking lot. There was a big bump, and I knew it. I've been to that grocery store so many times, but the problem was I had weighted down the front of my cart with bags of ice, and I had like water bottles, and I think it was just imbalanced. So the entire cart goes up in the air.
That is so funny.
And I caught it and pulled it back down. And it was like, I felt so embarrassed in that moment when it happened. And I was like, good thing. I don't think anybody was really paying attention.
Saw it.
A couple people saw it. But it's kind of like one of those moments that could have been like one of your most embarrassing moments, because I was going pretty fast on a mission, and that thing just flipped up, and I caught it and pulled it back down. And so I saved the shopping cart, but then those photos have haunted me for all these years. No, I'm kidding. It hasn't haunted me. It actually makes me laugh.
It was really funny.
It really does.
I remember you coming home and sharing that story, because that was at a time when we had just moved to LA and people were taking more photos and things, and we would see those pop up, a day after. You'd be like, well, I didn't even see anybody.
Yeah, they were there following.
And you were like, I'm pretty sure nobody got this. And sure enough, like a couple days later, it comes out. Yeah. That was really
That was just the odds of that, somebody being there to capture that moment. It's pretty incredible.
So here's one. This is from Reddit. And this is funny. This is interesting. Well, it's not like funny, but it's like interesting to see how people observe things. So this was several years ago when Mom came to visit with Jana, Jason, and James. And there's a photo that the caption or whatever is interesting body language observed between Ginger and her siblings. Mm-hmm. And the commenters say, basically, they say Michelle is being chaperoned by her siblings around Ginger because...
Michelle?
Yeah, your
is
mom.
Being chaperoned by her siblings?
Oh, I'm sorry. By your siblings. Michelle is being chaperoned by her kids around you, your siblings, to protect Michelle from you. And so, and it's because
we're all walking together.
In this photo, they're walking away
hilarious.
from you, and so there's space.
There's space between us. Oh, I should have been standing next to
they go interesting
Jana.
body language.
That's right. I should have stepped like 2 inches to the left.
Right.
That way I was shoulder to shoulder with them instead of like looks like I'm walking away. Wow. Yeah. We were out for a stroll in the neighborhood, I bet.
I know.
That's hilarious.
But it's funny, like they see, there's distance, like James, Jason, and Jana are close.
Ginger's like just a little bit
3 feet away. And they go, interesting, isn't it? Like they're obviously distant from one another.
That is interesting. Okay, so it's funny. I always wonder who writes these articles.
Well, this was an article. This is Reddit. So this is just somebody.
I always wonder though, articles, regardless, like if it's a tabloid setup or something like that, I always wonder who is sitting there trying to make a story line out of nothing. Like
very creative.
Literally nothing. Yeah. I cannot think that deeply to like create I could never write a novel. Like that's something I just couldn't do. That's like, something that is gonna just
look,
the imagination of these people. I don't know. But what I was gonna say about that too, before I forget, I was thinking that part of this is it actually kind of tells you like about our minds, because they're reading into that and making up a story because they want to.
Yeah.
But like even with me, I can walk into a room and think, oh man, everybody's thinking about me. They're thinking this. Or this person doesn't approve of me because of maybe some body language thing that they've done.
Right.
Like the way that, they're perceiving me right now is bad. And then come to find out that person could not even be thinking about that. Or like sometimes I'll ask you, it's kind of funny. I'll be like, hey, what are you thinking? Because I think you're thinking about something super deep. And you're like, actually, I'm not thinking about anything. I was thinking I need to like dust that ceiling fan. And I'm like, okay, great. That's wonderful. But like,
yeah, we put our perceptions on people.
Yes, exactly.
So this is what the comment said. The person posted it and then says, see how far apart they are walking from her. They seem to be 100% there to chaperone Michelle. Why a grown woman needed 3 chaperones, I will never understand. Yo, what are you talking about?
Like chaperones, like we're like, that's hilarious.
She visited her daughter with her kids.
That is so funny.
Yeah. But they have this perception. You know what? A lot of it is, I think they try to, and this is like how tabloids would sell too.
Yeah.
They sell this way because I think people's minds work this way.
Yeah.
They want there to be like a clickbait, but they want there to be a morsel of gossip of like, oh, there's tension.
There's always narrative that's not true.
Have you ever seen, it's funny, and it's often from pictures, like this is a snapshot of, somebody took the picture and probably 4 seconds later, you probably switched positions and would have had a completely different narrative, like been a little closer to Jana or something. But have you ever even taken a picture of yourself and your facial expression is so bizarre and you go, oh my goodness, like I need to redo that. Or you see a picture of yourself, eyes half closed, and you look so like, you're like, oh, that's a horrible picture.
Or you just forget to put on mascara and they're like, oh, you look so tired. Why are you so exhausted? I'm like, maybe I should just add a little bit of pop to my eyes.
Yeah, but then they read into it like, okay, the flash of the camera caught you in a moment of transition or something. And then they go, oh, therefore your life must be falling apart on these levels. So they're reading into it.
For sure.
Okay, let me read another one. This is about our most recent dating app episode. So our episode, which came out about dating apps, I guess someone put on Reddit that they're so pretentious. Why would a couple who've been married for a decade and presumably not meet on a dating app be qualified to talk about this subject? And then there are 57 comments about that. Like, how would they know? How can you give advice on something you've never experienced? Just like getting after this episode where we talk about dating apps.
That's so fascinating. It's interesting because we can't talk about anything unless we've fully experienced it. And even on that,
we haven't been on a dating app. My buddy signed me up for Christian Mingle.
Jeremy was on a dating app, actually.
When I was in New York.
Yep, when you were in New York, you did.
Me with it.
Yep, that's right. So Jeremy was on a dating app, guys.
Experience.
He was.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, it's interesting. There's so many opinions on everything.
Sure.
And so if you just lean into it and you feel like these people are going to now determine, oh my goodness, we can't talk about anything because
there is something about like, there's something where if you think, oh man, what are they going to say about me?
Yeah.
It could form, so much of, that's silly, right? Like, we're not going to not do an episode on a topic because somebody in the stratosphere is going, why are they talking about that? But like, think about a kid who's being bullied and they bring up a topic or they say, hey, let's talk about this. And someone says, that's so stupid. Why would you say that? Why are we talking? We're not going to talk about that. Then the next time they're going to go, oh, maybe what I want to talk about won't be accepted or maybe I can't say this around them. And it can start to shut you down.
I did that for a while, honestly. Like on social media, I remember there was a season where there was so much critique happening. And also we were being followed a lot. And I just started to just shut down over it. I literally did not. I had been fine for so many years. And then it started to really get to me. And I was thinking, well, why would I post online if I'm just going to be eaten alive, basically, thrown out to the sharks every time I put something out? And then I was overthinking everything. And so I was thinking, well, now I can't actually be real and share my real life because I know what they want me to share and it's not my real life. Because if you're going to attack every little thing, like I would have like something sitting on the counter and they'd be like, don't you know that's a hazard? That's dangerous. It could, what if that slipped off the counter and it landed on your foot? Like stuff like really ridiculous. And it would be like a kid's car seat belt that was they thought was not buckled properly, even though it wasn't up to code or whatever, and there would be an attack on that. Or it's like something really silly. Your hair looks ridiculous. You know that your hairline's missing because of pregnancy, because of having a baby. And I'm like, when you start to lean into all that, I think there was a season where I knew that I did not want to have to deal with it. And so I kind of just stopped posting for a little while.
Yeah.
And so you'd see lulls in my Instagram, and it's not always true. Sometimes people will jump on that too. Like if you aren't on Instagram for a month, they're like, "Are you okay? Are you fine?" And I'm like, "No, it's actually healthy for everybody to do.
Yeah.
Take a break from Instagram." And there are times where I really enjoy sharing my life on social media. And so I'll do that. But I think that the opinions, for a while, it started to really get to me. And so I stepped back, and then we also are not sharing our kids. And so people have opinions about why we do that, why we don't do that. The assumptions are made. We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about trust and will.
Yeah, one of the things that can give you and your family peace of mind is having a living will, so that you know if anything happens to you, your assets, your finances, and also the care and protection of your children will go to whom, where, when you want it to go. So if we were to pass away, we know exactly who gets custody of our children. There's no going through the state because of trust and will. We have a living will, and it really gives peace of mind.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best gifts that you can give to your family, your loved ones. And so take that time and go ahead and reach out to Trust and Will.
Protect your legacy and your loved ones today, tomorrow, and beyond with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/ginger and get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/ginger to get 20% off. That's a huge deal. It's a great way to get started. This is probably the reminder you need to really take that step to care for your family.
We want to take a break from this episode to tell you about Nutrafol.
If you are experiencing hair thinning or hair issues, Nutrafol is for you. You can experience real growth of your hair over time. It happens quickly, not in a flash, but you'll see improvements in 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I have loved Nutrafol, especially postpartum, because I struggled so much with postpartum hair loss. And Nutrafol is an awesome way to be able to supplement to help your hair improve. And so I think that anybody who is walking through that, gift it to somebody who is postpartum. It's going to be their best friend.
Yeah, Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, and it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. So let your hair become one less thing taking up space in your head, and see thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code JandJ. That's JANDJ. Nutrafol.com, spelled NUTRAFOL.com, promo code JandJ.
Now back to the episode.
Listen to this post. Is the unhappiness of Jeremy and Ginger's marriage blown out of proportion? The person writes, this isn't in response to any particular post, but ever since I first started reading, it's been stated as fact that Jeremy is a jerk to her, makes fun of her constantly, and is a narcissist who's probably abusing her. There's a couple different split narratives about whether he's pretentious and isn't as smart as he thinks he is, or if he is actually brilliant and looks down on Ginger for being dumb. But either way, it's pretty unanimous. She must be miserable.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like,
that's crazy.
They've got these narratives on our marriage.
They do on every single, half of my friends I follow on social media. They're always thinking that there's marriage problems. That's one of the #1 tabloid issues.
Yeah.
It's like if we were walking down the street and there's a picture and I'm looking to the side, they're like, oh, marriage problems.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that people, it's an easy thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately it is true. Behind closed doors, you are the one who knows exactly who that person is. And I think that part of it is too, you almost don't want to address it like, oh, we're doing great, because then people are like, oh yeah, well, are you gonna believe that? Right. Because honestly, if you were just answering every single person on every little detail,
it gives credibility.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. So I think that sometimes there are things that you can speak to And to set the record straight, Jeremy is the most patient, loving, and kind person. And if you know him, to know him is to love him. And I was just actually talking to somebody from your work yesterday, and they were just saying what a gift it is to be able to work with you and how much fun you guys have, but then also just for that friendship that you really do pour into everyone that you're around, and you're a lot of fun to be around. And I could not agree more. I'm always sad when you head out in the morning for work, and then because I really genuinely have fun being around you. So anytime that, we're on vacation or we get a break from that work schedule in our daily routine, I love it. I love hanging out with you 24/7.
Sweet.
And also, just so you guys know, this is something too. I think that there are ways that in marriage people can put their spouse down or make them feel less than, but you've never done that with me. And I think you've only pushed me to grow when I've been uncomfortable. The only time you've pushed me is when I'm almost like want to stay in my little rut. And I'm like, I don't want to grow in that season. And I'm uncomfortable over something that I'm insecure about. And that's when you push me. That's the only time I've felt you push me, is when you know that it's good for me and I could grow from it and thrive, like blossom. Because you want to see me, like for a while, I was like, oh, I want to go learn to play golf. And I was too embarrassed to go out and try. And you said, don't be embarrassed about this. See, I always get emotional. I hate getting emotional. But you would say like, okay, well, go try something new. And I'd say, well, I really want to do golf, but I don't know how to even get started. So we went out a couple times. I was terrible. Like to putting grease. I was horrible at it. So you got me golf lesson. And I did that. And the golf teacher was like, oh yeah, you can actually hit pretty decent. Like because of the control of like playing piano, you have more strength in your hands, whatever. I'm not great. But like even some of those
great
things.
At golf unless you're on the tour.
Yeah, but it was fun because then you pushed me. You're like, don't be afraid. Because I would go out there, and even just at the putting green, I'd hit some really terrible balls and be embarrassed by it because I felt like I was looking around, other people were doing great. But like, you're like, don't give up, just keep trying. Like you push me in things that I would typically just be embarrassed and like walk away. And I'd be like, well, forget it. I'm never going to do that. Or like working out at the gym. I'd never really done that before. And you encouraged me to do it. And now I'm loving it. And so there are some of those things where you only push me to be a better person and to grow. If you know it's like an insecurity or I'm like embarrassed by it, you just challenge me like, hey, think about it. What are you going to lose if you don't do it? And I think that that's something that I really love about you. And you're very patient too. So like, you're not like, get over it. You should know how to do this. Like, just, like move forward. You never do that with me. You're very patient and know when to push me and when not to. Yeah. Anyhow, that was my little rant. Now I'm done. And now I have tears dripping down my face. Thank you. I have tissues.
Yeah.
I should be sponsored by Kleenex. That would be a great partnership.
Okay, here's a post that has me laughing.
I'm nervous now.
Why does Ginger look so dead inside lately? Is she finally sick of Jeremy talking?
The only thing I'd be sick about that Jeremy has done is should I say it?
Say it. What are you gonna say?
It's just when just when you get in your goofy mode and I'm not in my goofy mode. That's the only thing. But I always say, oh, not right now. Because you are so funny and you will use humor. There's only every once in a while you use humor. And I'm like really exhausted, or it's like late at night and I'm like,
bad timing.
I say, hey, whatever it is, I'm asking you a question and you come back with something hilarious, but I'm not in the mood for it. And I'm like, nah, not right now, babe.
Yeah.
But you're very funny all the time. And Felicity has your humor. And I kind of love it. And I'm kind of terrified.
Yeah, I'm kind of terrified too. I'm not going to lie to you. I realize, oh man, this is what I do to people.
Let me just say, if I look so tired, if I look so exhausted, it's because I am still nursing a baby, my third child. And see, I look at the camera when I say these things because it matters.
Yeah, maybe you're tired.
I am I am tired because I'm in that season of nursing a baby who wakes up a lot at night. You'll get up and take him. Like, there were multiple nights where, even recently, he has not wanted to go to bed. And I'm so exhausted. And when I get to that point where I'm just like, it could be 10:30 at night, 11, and I'm just wiped, and he just will not fall asleep. You'll just take him downstairs, watch your show, and let him hang out and keep him for a couple hours, and then bring him back, and then I'll nurse him again, and then he'll eventually go down. But like, I think that it's part of that thing too, where I'm like, okay, should I just not show up on social media if I look tired?
Well,
because I am tired of motherhood.
Yeah, I think it's motherhood. I think the majority of people have grace as they view someone and go, man, she's a mom who's doing a great job. Maybe she's tired today. But then you have somebody who goes, she looks dead inside, which is like the meanest way of saying, like, oh, you look tired, and it's the meanest construction on someone. And isn't it funny in 2026 with all this like body positivity stuff?
Yes. That they can still
People
say that.
still like body shame and like physical
and like,
appearance.
why aren't you wearing makeup?
Right.
I do not wear makeup every single day. Let me just say that, because part of it is like your skin needs a break and you need a break from putting makeup on. You always say that. You're like, you don't need makeup. But then after I've had a couple nights where I was really tired, I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, maybe I should put a little something. Just a little concealer under the eyes could not hurt. So it's great.
But you know, when you start putting like credence toward what someone says, and I think it's natural to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like we start putting credence because we do want to be approved by others. You realize like, oh man, if I was in a posture of gaining my own sense of self-worth or value from what other people said, I would put a lot of weight into this criticism, and that would really do some damage, right? This is actually why we've written our children's book, which has just come out and is being released, is because working through the stuff you and I have had to work through, which is part of your journey of people pleasing, which you wrote about in your book, People Pleaser. We've now realized, you know, it's one thing for adults to deal with this and then be able to go, okay, well, that person has no actual perspective on reality, right? Like that one, remember that one tabloid that came out and said, I was probably beating you, and people were concerned that I was being physically abusive because there was a picture of us on an airplane and the shadow from the light was covering your eyes, and so there was a shadow on your eyes.
Yeah, was I wearing a hat or something, or maybe not. No, I wasn't wearing a hat, but I was asleep on the plane. I think, were we on our way to our honeymoon?
No, I don't think it was honeymoon.
Or was that later? Arkansas?
No, it was later because we were in our marriage. But
married.
People were saying, oh, is he being abusive? And you go, this is no perspective on reality, right?
Yep.
But this starts very young. And like we've said with our book, we wanted to give our daughters, I think I have a copy of it. We wanted to give our daughters and our son now a right perspective of how do you view a bully? And not just a bully, but like anybody's opinion, because not everybody who says something cruel or says something is necessarily a bully.
Yeah.
But people can say sharp things, or not even saying sharp things, but how do you go through life not rising or falling with everyone else's opinion of you? And not in a way where you go, I just don't need people.
Yeah, and that's the other danger, I think, because some people are like, oh, well, I don't care what anybody says, especially people close to me, and they just block out every single voice, every single criticism, because they're like, I am enough. I've got it in myself, and that's just not right either.
But it's actually not true. Like, I think people try to block everybody out with that approach of like, I don't care what any of you say. I think they actually do.
Yeah.
Like, I think if someone that they really cared about came to them and in a moment of honesty said, I love you so much, and it doesn't matter the disagreements we've had, I value our friendship, or you're this, you mean the world to me, I think it would actually impact that person.
Yeah, that's so true.
Even though they've kind of put on and said, I don't care what anybody says, because they've been mistreated.
Yep.
But it is a response, like for instance, we could take the response of like, well, I don't care what the public says. I don't care. Well, that's not true. We want to have good relationships with people.
And feedback. I think it's helpful, like on anything that you do, to have positive and negative feedback is good because that's a healthy discussion.
Totally.
We all need it.
Yeah.
And I think that especially though, so talking about finding your identity and knowing that you always belong, I think that there's a new danger that we're seeing online with young people online. And I think that's something that is scary. So you have to build these foundations of knowing who you are. The cyberbullying, it's happening all over. And you'll have young teens get on these chat forums and it's like leads to terrible places. And so I think that ultimately this foundation needs to be built. These conversations need to be had from a very early age before they ever encounter any of that, because that's hopefully they will never have to. But I'm thinking that it matters now more than ever because we have there's so much struggle there. There's so much uncertainty in kids' hearts too.
Yeah.
About, trying to perform, put your best foot forward on social media, wherever. And so I think that it's just next level these days.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, as we open this book, and actually it's out now, so you can get a copy. And so I want to actually share some of this with our audience and read some of it.
We added pandas. So this is a fun note.
That is
we added pandas on this page because our Evie Jo, she's obsessed with Peter pandas. And she always has been. Yeah. And I was obsessed with pandas as a kid. And so we had them add in some fun little things for our kiddos, and that's one of them.
But it starts out, look all around you. What do you see? A world filled with wondrous things like oceans and mountains and big hairy beasts and colorful creatures with wings. And there at the center is little old you, God's greatest creation by far, created to be part of his family, made to be loved just as you are. You were, and this is kind of the theme that goes around the book, you were made to be part of God's story, a beautiful note in his song. So let his light shine as you walk through the world. And remember, you always belong. And so that's kind of the theme. But then here's like, as we go through these different scenarios with the kids, they are honestly like, this is a book we could read as adults and go, man, that was so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll make you feel good if you read a book in a day. You go, I read a book today. But like, here's a scenario. On days when you feel you're not wanted and you need to change to fit in, remind yourself, I'm a child of God, and that's when the wonder begins. You were made to reflect God's own glory, designed as God meant you to be. You're one of a kind, his special creation, so live your life confidently. If people understood who they were, made in the image of God, like that's a stunning realization. Mm-hmm. So, James, the brother of Jesus, wrote in his epistle that how can you say with your mouth, I love God, and then curse people who are made in his image? Mm-hmm. What he's saying is, as a Christian, you understand every single person is made in God's image, and they reflect God's image. Now, somebody on Reddit looks at you and goes, you're not valuable to me, so I'm going to cut you down because I don't like the color of your hair. I don't like the decisions you made. I don't like the sound of your voice. I don't like your family. So I'm going to say cruel things about you. What they're doing is they're cursing a person who actually, in ways, reflects God, his own image.
That's such a sad place to be, honestly, when you think about it. It's like, if you have, that's your purpose, is to cut others down, then it's so tragic. And I think it's the same with a lot of things. Like, even something that's not online, it's like gossip, slander, talking about people in ways that are not helpful. Like, I think that when we realize that we are made in the image of God, like you said, and others are, that puts value on your life to show Christ's love to them, and then also to value them in the same way that you wish that others would treat you. And
so that's a huge, that's what here's a scenario, and look at this. This is a little bit of me and a little bit of Felicity happening here, because soccer scenario, but the Felicity is, she came home one day and people had been laughing at her. And so we wrote, those times when you find yourself stumbling and someone's laughing at you, just pick yourself up and try it again. Show them what courage can do. Mm-hmm. Remember that God isn't laughing. He's there by your side day and night. Say a quick prayer, trust in the Lord that he will make everything right. You were made to be part of God's story, a beautiful note in a song. So let his light shine as you walk through the world. And remember, you always belong. And so here's the scenario. The scenario changes to now she got up, tried again, right? Little kid gives their best effort, gets up, has some courage. But then she's able to then, from a place of power, help someone else up who stumbled. Because she hasn't been crippled. This little child's not been crippled by people's perception of me.
There's a confidence there.
So there's a confidence, hey, you know what? I'm going to get up and try again. So then now she's able to help someone else who's in a place where she just was, of feeling beat down. And Ginge, this little scenario, I love this scenario when in the swimming pool, there's this little scenario of a boy, he's being made fun of, he's scared to go in the pool. And this is so you on a large scale with your book Becoming Free Indeed and People Pleaser. But it says when someone you know is standing alone in need of support and a voice, it can be scary to come alongside, but remember you do have a choice. What would it feel like to walk in their shoes, and what would God want you to do? Then go find the strength to do what is right, let his light shine brightly through you. And so coming alongside, equipping our children to see the world through a different lens than, I better make sure nobody says anything mean about me. I've got to do everything I can to appease so that these random people, or even people in your life at school or at work, make sure they approve of me. That is so crippling, where you are feeding off of their perception and you're not in a place of strength to then go and support others because you just need all the help you can get yourself.
Yeah, that's so true. I was thinking about that the other day as I was driving through a little section of a neighborhood where the neighbors could be a little opinionated. And I was just thinking, like as I'm passing some of them, I'm thinking, oh man, I do wonder what they think of us in this, in this section of this neighborhood. And then I'm driving through it thinking that way. And I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous because like, I don't even know these people. Like I've only heard about this certain neighborhood and how they can be all, like bothered about everything.
Right.
And I'm driving through it. I'm just thinking, that's so crazy of me. Like think that way. I want to like be kind to others, but also I don't want to be crippled by what they think.
Right.
And I don't even know them. I want to care for them, but it's like for that to control.
Well, that's huge.
My thought
because
is
let's say you meet someone who's been openly critical of you. Then you're going to go, well, I'm going to give them a cold shoulder. So actually, you're allowing their perception of you to keep you from loving them, a person made in God's image.
And not even be able to have a relationship or reach out. And
isn't it powerful when you see people overcome wrongs done toward them, like on the news? Somebody wrongs them and they're in court and the person says, I forgive you and I love you. I'm here for you. And you go, whoa, that's so powerful. It's because that person's operating not from a sense of needing anything from that person, whether it's revenge or anything or approval. They're going, I am self-satisfied. I am completed in who I am in Christ. So now I can give you what you need. Love, affection, care, whatever it is, I'm in a place. And that's what we write at the end of this book. When you're filled with God's love for others because you have Christ in your heart, you're living the life he made you to live, helping others and doing your part. Be God's hands and feet to help others. Let them know they matter too. That's how you can honor our God who is good, his light and love shining through you. So love and trust our Savior Jesus. Only through him can come forgiveness and peace. God's grace and favor can be yours, unending love that will never cease. And we finish with, you're all made as part of God's story. Beautiful notes in his song. So let his light shine as you walk through the world. And remember, we always belong. And we have a little note at the end that we write to the kids. But I'm so encouraged by this because even as we struggle with this as adults, this is something that begins very young. This need for other people to approve. And being set free from it is really incredible. Like being set free from it is so, it's freeing.
And I think that it's interesting because it does start as kids. And I really wish that I would have really thought that way even through my teenage years when I was older. I feel like I'm finally now at a place where I'm starting to realize like, wow, that was a really sad way to live. Just constantly consumed by everyone's opinions
And
of
that leads you to
me.
crazy
And
places.
yeah, and it's not how God designed us to function.
Right.
And I think that fear like kept me from having genuine friendships and relationships and from trying new things, because that's something I still can struggle with. And I can be feeling like so insecure over things that I shouldn't. I should just give it a try. Like you said, if you fall down, get up, laugh at yourself, keep going. I used to be just crippled in fear of that. So I think that hopefully this book will be super helpful to shape your kids' perspectives of how God created them and how they can also share that love of Christ with others, and other people can find freedom as well.
Guys, get your copy. You can click the link in the bio or wherever you get books. It's out now. We hope it is a blessing to you and your kids and your families. It was fun writing this one, and it's been fun reading it with our daughters. They've really been enjoying this. With Finn too, but he doesn't know English yet, so it's not as beneficial for him. Guys, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next week.